I met with a pastor who was talking to me about the triage evaluation for the Stuck Church that he had just taken. And he told me an interesting story. He had been there for several years, and the church was very prominently located in their small town. They had an opportunity to touch the town. And so he thought if we got a fresh vision, this would start us off growing again because the church had been declining. But after 2 years of working on that vision, it just fell flat. Nobody really got excited about it. Nobody got involved in it. People couldn't even remember what it said. And then he took the triage evaluation. And what he discovered is that he had started the church off in the wrong place. And he recognized that he had just wasted 2 years of trying to lead the church to do something that it wasn't ready to do. When you look at a evaluation for the church, it follows this process that first we have to look at the spiritual life of the church, then the vision of the church, then the evangelizing of the church, discipling, and leadership training. And when the church is broken in any of these systems, they have to be repaired in that order. So before they could do vision, they had to address the spiritual life of the church. And that's where they were really struggling. And why nobody cared about the vision? Because spiritually, they weren't where they needed to be to care about what God wanted them to care about. Now, when I talk about spiritual life, I'm not talking about preaching. I'm not talking necessarily about praying or Bible reading or charismatic gifts or however you think about that. I am talking about the core relationship between each individual in that church and their God. I'm also talking about the corporate relationship between themselves and their God. There's a lot of things that are going on in the spiritual life of the church that is very on the surface. We do things, we say things, we practice things, and we say, spiritual life's going on. Look how people sing. Look how many people show up for this or that or the other thing. Or look how people get together and pray over these needs or get out and help other people. And that's spiritual life for many, many people. But I know that spiritual life goes right to the heart, to the very soul of each person. And that people have unfinished business that they have never let God deal with in their lives. And sometimes this unfinished business is shared. There has been a past spiritual crisis in the church. They've gone through a split. The pastor got involved in moral failure, or there was a bully in the church, a church boss that had dominated the church, and that person had now left. But they had left a crater in the souls of the rest of the congregation. And so now the church is trying to recover and get past that, but their spiritual life has been damaged. And they can't go forward until there is healing and wholeness and deliverance of sin that's going on inside of their hearts. This is what I mean by spiritual life. So when we try to address spiritual life on a superficial level, let's get together and do more praying. Let's get together and read more scripture. Let's get together and lay hands on one another. All of that is great, but it's not really getting to the core of things. We have to be really intentional. This is why in Church Equippers, we teach people about how to help people in our congregation deal with unfinished business, how to pursue God in intimacy and be healed. So if you're interested in learning more about your spiritual life system in your church, you can get in contact with me at www.churchequippers.com.